Module 6, Marketing Strategy. In Module 6, there's all kinds of technical information that I could try to convey to you about marketing strategy, all kinds of things that get real technical. Define your buyer, your method of distribution, strength of competitors, pricing alternatives, advertising methods and budget, fulfillment, cash flow. Goes on and on and on and on and on, and there's a zillion documents on the internet that will tell you more about the technical part of this. But what I want to concentrate on and just talk to you for a little bit is about the most basic question that I hear most often. I've always heard this question in a roundabout way, is what do I do next? And actually what I've done is I have combined Module 6, Marketing Strategy, and Module 7, How to Market Your Idea, into one lesson, and I'm going to tell you that lesson now from my perspective. This is only my idea, and there's just lots and lots and lots of information that you can continue to do research on this. The big question that comes up right at the end and at this point in your investigation of how to work with your new idea has three prongs to it. 1, do it all. 2, find a partner. Or 3, simply figure out a way to collect a royalty check. And this depends on many factors. And I'm just going to give you a brief overview of how I have learned to do it, mostly by trial and error, about how to do this and how to help you understand why I feel the way I do about this whole idea. If you do it all, what are the implications of that? Well, you've got to pay for tooling, you've got to pay for sampling, you've got to figure out a marketing budget, you've got to have a lot of money. And one of the things I learned very early on is until you have some valid form of distribution, be very careful about how you proceed, because distribution is the other end of the rainbow. The front end of the rainbow is having the idea. The other end of the rainbow is to figure out distribution. So when you say do it all, well, do you have the knowledge and the money to do it all, to pay for the tooling and so forth and so on? Or do you find a partner? If you find a partner, then they might put up the money or the expertise or whatever. There's a lot more currency in this whole idea than just pure money. So you might find a partner, but one way or the other, you have to figure out distribution in order to get this other end of the rainbow connected up. The third option, and there are probably other options too, but the third option for me is to simply figure out how to get a royalty check. Now I'm going to use the seatmate once again to demonstrate and explain some of this. The seatmate came about as a result of my having an idea, designing it, building prototypes. I've already told you all about that. You've seen the seatmate before. And then one of the big questions I had was design or utility. Well, I could have gotten by with a design patent on this, but I followed my rule and found me a partner. I found me a company that was interested in financing the whole thing, and I just get a royalty check. So I really did this, developed this whole product. They put up all the money just for a royalty check. Now, just for instance of what they put up, I think I've told you this before, but on the seatmate, that model that you see pictured in that on the seat right there in that drawing, which they did this drawing, by the way. I don't know how much this drawing costs, but a drawing like this can cost $500 to $1,000 for a sketch artist to come in and do this kind of sketching. That first prototype model was done with a process called stereolithography, which today can be done with probably a 3D printer. But at that time, there was stereolithography, and that model, They needed the model to put this into a catalog, to photograph it for a catalog. And so this model cost about $3,000, and I got to watch it being made. I went to Charlotte, where this was done, and Charlotte, North Carolina, and watched this model being made. The tooling for this product cost $55,000, and they gave me the permission to help design the tooling and to figure out the injection molding tool that was used to produce this part. So I had great fun with this idea and made some money on it too. My first royalty check, I think, I remember, was a little over $2,600. So the first idea, however, is to figure out if it's a design patent or a utility patent. Design probably would have worked for this, but utility was what they wanted, and so we ended up getting both. And that's the reason why a design patent sometimes, as I've already mentioned to you, can be used as a firewall, or I call it a smoke blower, to blow smoke out there until you get your product into the marketplace. Until you get your product patented and a number assigned to it, nobody can know whether it's a design patent or a utility patent until it's published. So you can go out, put patent pending on there, start marketing. You're as protected as you're ever going to be while this patent is in a certain phase of its process, whether it's a design patent or a utility patent. So the patent is published, all of a sudden pops out, it's a design patent. Well, then companies might say, well, we can probably change it and get around that design patent. But by that time, you have to remember that it's possible that you've already gotten this thing well on its way to being marketed, and so you don't need it anymore. Going back to the two basic types, you've already seen this slide, but I wanted to refresh your mind about this. Design patent is a single claim, but it's about the shape or the configuration or the ornamentation of a product. So the design patent is not nearly as strong, but it's a whole lot cheaper to obtain and a lot quicker too. But there are certain ways when you start figuring out your strategy to use this as you're working on your utility patent to see if it's going to sell and all that sort of thing. So that's part of the strategy part of this whole thing. But once you've decided on your partner or a company that's going to finance the project, like happened with the seat mate, then you know better about how to do this based on what their budget is. This company had lots and lots and lots of budget, so I was very fortunate. So this whole idea of market strategy and how to market your product, if you decide to do it yourself, you've got lots of money to invest and lots of risk to assume, especially if you don't have distribution. If you decide to partner up with somebody, make sure they have distribution and they have deep pockets and they have the wherewithal to do it. I personally require my partners to pay for the patent for one reason. If they are willing to pay for the patent, which a lot of companies will ask you to pay for the patent, you get it patented and then I'll work with you. I require my partners to pay for the patent because I feel like if they're not big enough and strong enough and don't believe in my product enough to pay for the patent, then they're probably the wrong partner for me. Now that's just my personal opinion, and that's kind of what I stick to. So you keep that in mind if you like. So this is just simply a way to help you get started with this first big step after you've gone through this whole process of developing an idea as to what to do with it next. What I would say in closing is make sure you create your strategy using this whole concept of how am I going to get distribution, who is my partner going to be, and how much risk am I willing to take to see this thing to fruition, to see this idea become a reality. Good luck, and thank you very much.